thank you to the organizers and Dr. Somshila for inviting me to give this talk. So I'll be first talking on mucous membrane grafts, and then I'll be speaking on SLET. When you look at the normal lid margin, this is the lid viper, which rubs against the ocular surface, and then comes the mucocutaneous junction and the gray line. But what happens in a condition such as Stevens-Johnson syndrome is that the lid viper is replaced with skin. That is, there is keratinization, that is posterior mucocutaneous junction migration. As you can see, it should have been somewhere here, but it has migrated onto the tarsal conjunctiva. And then keratin also gets deposited along this area where there is posterior mucocutaneous junction migration. And this is again another patient with upgrade lid margin keratinization. Both are cases of Stevens-Johnson syndrome. So what happens secondary to this is that when these are rubbing against the cornea, as you can see here, there is keratinized lid margins mostly nasally in this eye with trichosis and distichiatic lashes. And you can see most of the corneal changes occurring in those areas. This has been very beautifully described in a paper by Dr. Sheffer Seng in 2005, where they have shown that all the corneal changes correspond very well with the cicatricial eyelid pathologies. So when you have a keratinized lid margin such as this, what we do is we replace the keratinized lid margin with oral mucosa, mostly from the lip, hence known as labial mucosa. And this is how the outcome is, where we replace this tissue with healthy labial tissue. So what is the function of lid margin mucous membrane grafts? So it minimizes the effect of blink-related trauma. So with every blink, this keratinized lid margin can cause a lot of corneal damage and can cause LSCD because of mechanical changes. And this also reduces lid-related keratopathy and maintains best-corrected visual acuity by preventing further deterioration of the ocular surface. So indications are again when there is keratinization of the lid margin associated with lid-related keratopathy. So what is lid-related keratopathy? Wherever the lid margin is keratinized, there is, whenever we stain the cornea with fluorescein, we see corresponding corneal changes, mostly in the form of SPKs. As you can see in this cornea, this is the unstained, these are the unstained images, these are the stained images of the same cornea. And you can see that most of the corneal changes are where the lid margin changes are. So this is lid-related keratopathy, and this should be very clearly assessed in every SJS patient. And if a patient has lid margin keratinization associated with lid-related keratopathy, then yes, a mucous membrane graft is definitely required. So what is the ideal case for lid margin MMG? Early lid-related keratopathy with not very severe corneal changes, a wet eye with a Schirmer's of ideally more than 5, and these are the best cases. And we should ideally avoid prophylactic MMGs where there is no lid-related keratopathy, and keep these patients on close follow-up, and then assess if lid margin MMG is required. So ideal source is again any donor mucosal site with non-keratinized epithelium. We use the labial mucosa because the access is very easy for us, and buccal mucosa may be difficult to harvest. So the final intraoperative outcome looks something like this, where you can see that the outer lid margin is sutured with Vicryl, whereas on the inner lid margin we use fibrin glue, and there should be some gap here so that the tarsal conjunctiva can grow up till here and then it stops. So the ideal defect that you make should be larger than the graft that we are supposed to put. So I'm not shown a surgical video here, mainly because we have a very detailed review article which got published earlier this year in the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, and we have a very detailed surgical technique mentioned there. And you can also there is also a YouTube video mentioned in that article which can be accessed to look at the surgical technique of the lid margin MMG. Now, at the outcomes of mucous membrane grafts, they are mainly, if you look at this eye, both the upper lid and the lower lid margins are keratinized and the cornea is vascularized. However, the corneal vascularization has reduced in density after a mucous membrane graft has been done for both the lids. Again, this is a very, this is almost in the acute stage. Cornea is really affected. It's almost very thinned out, lot of vessels. Very florid keratinization. Again, with a lid margin MMG, with a PROS lens, this patient is doing very well. So we have managed to salvage this eye. There is quite a lot of literature from the SN group, and also we have published in the American Journal of Ophthalmology our outcomes of both lid margin MMG and scleral lenses and the combination of both. And this is how the ideal anatomical outcome should be, where this mucocutaneous junction is reconstructed appropriately. And the functional outcome is actually really beautiful in these cases, because patients who could not open their eyes previously are very symptomatic, are much more comfortable after this technique. So it makes a whole world of difference to these patients. So my conclusion for the MMG presentation is that lid margin keratinization may occur in eyes where AMT has been performed in the acute phase 2, and we should recognize lid margin keratinization in lid-related keratopathy. And MMG prevents deterioration of vision in eyes with lid-related keratopathy. And the natural course of disease needs to be explained to these patients in detail. Now coming to SLET. SLET is again a technique which was described by Dr. Sangwan in this paper in BJO in 2012. It's a technique used for unilateral limbal stem cell deficiency. And this paper had 6 eyes which showed a completely epithelialized avascular stable corneal surface by 6 weeks. It's a magical procedure. And if you look at this, this is preoperative LSCD, and this is how beautiful it looks at 1 year. Again, another eye with LSCD, 1 day, 1 month, and at 1 year, it is almost like no surgical procedure was done in this eye. So ideal candidates are patients with unilateral LSCD with a clinically non-inflamed wet surface. So if we compare SLET with other techniques such as CLET and CLAW for autologous, for unilateral LSCD, the cost factor for SLET is very less, because we do not need a lab like CLET. And also the risk of iatrogenic LSCD is less compared to CLAW, because we only harvest 1 clock hour. This is a case where I'll show you the surgical video. This is a young child with SLET with Symblepharon, and both SLET and Symblepharon were actually treated in the same surgical setting. Here I'm taking the limbal biopsy from the normal eye, and I'm also harvesting the conjunctiva inferiorly to do a conjunctival autograft. This child had a Symblepharon in 2 quadrants. So if you look at this, I'm releasing the panels, I'm removing the Symblepharon in this eye. And after removing the Symblepharon, I know I need to do a conjunctival autograft in those 2 areas where the Symblepharon was the most dense. So after removing the panels, after removing the panels, I have sutured the conjunctival autograft. As you can see, I'm suturing it inferiorly, and I'll also be suturing it superiorly. And after suturing it, I'll be placing an amniotic membrane graft here. And after placing the amniotic membrane graft, I've kept the explants. And this patient actually did very well post-operatively. So this is the post-operative outcome at 1 year. No recurrence of LSCD, no recurrence of Symblepharon. SLET, the epithelialization of the ocular surface happens within 14 days, with each explant releasing epithelium on all sides. And we have also shown this on ASOCT, where we have shown that the epithelium grows out of these transplants. And we have also published this and shown the outcomes at a long follow-up of 6 months, where we can see the retained AMG and the epithelium above it. The outcomes have been also published in 125 eyes, where the outcomes are very good in both adults and children, with almost 70 to 80% success, both functional and anatomical. In the donor eye, the amount of complications are very less. LSCD is 0, and conjunctivalization and Symblepharon are also minimal, can be treated. However, this is in the recipient eye. We do not see much of LSCD in the donor eye, because we just harvest 1 clock hour. So looking at 4 studies, the outcomes of SLET in these 4 studies have been very good. So SLET is a very replicable process. It's a very easy process for anybody to learn. And it is magical for our patients for all cases of unilateral LSCD. If a patient has both Symblepharon and LSCD, can be also addressed at the same visit. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. So I'll end my talk here.